Marcus Reed had built his career quietly in Seattle, Washington as a single father raising his 9-year-old son, Ethan. He had little interest in office politics. His mornings began before sunrise, preparing breakfast, checking Ethan's homework, and making sure his son caught the school bus. Then Marcus drove downtown to the headquarters of Grant Technologies, one of Seattle's fastest-growing software companies. Marcus had worked there for 4 years. He wasn't the loudest engineer in the company, but he was the one executives called when something went wrong. When a major client experienced a system failure, Marcus stayed awake all night and restored the service. When the company's security team discovered a vulnerability, Marcus designed the emergency fix. When a project fell behind schedule, he reorganized the development team and brought it back on track. Yet CEO Victoria Grant rarely praised him. Victoria was brilliant, ambitious, and extremely competitive. She had built Grant Technologies from a small startup into a billion-dollar company. She expected complete loyalty from her employees. Marcus respected her achievements, but he didn't flatter her. That seemed to bother her. One Monday morning, a critical software update failed, just before an important client presentation. Executives rushed into the conference room. Phones started ringing. Managers blamed different departments. Marcus quietly opened his laptop. "Give me 20 minutes, he said. Victoria looked at him. "You're sure?" "Yes." Marcus worked through the code, identified the problem, and deployed a correction. 23 minutes later, the system was working perfectly. The client remained satisfied. Several executives congratulated Marcus. Victoria simply nodded later that afternoon. She called him into her office. "You handled the problem well." She said thank you. Victoria leaned back in her chair. "You should remember that opportunities like this aren't available to everyone." Marcus looked confused. "I don't understand." "I hired you when other companies wouldn't take a chance on you." Marcus stayed silent. Victoria continued. "Single parents usually have too many distractions. School schedules, emergencies, family responsibilities. I took a risk when I hired you." Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. He had never used Ethan as an excuse. He had worked harder precisely because his son depended on him. "I've never asked for special treatment," Marcus said. Victoria smiled. "Then be grateful I hired a single dad when nobody else would." Marcus looked at her for several seconds. He wanted to argue instead. He simply said, "I understand." He left the office that evening. Marcus sat in his car outside Ethan's school. His son climbed inside Dad. "You look sad," Marcus smiled. "Just tired at home." Marcus helped Ethan with dinner and homework. After Ethan went to bed, Marcus opened his laptop. He checked his email. There was an unfamiliar message from a Seattle technology executive. The subject line read, "Confidential leadership opportunity." Marcus almost deleted it. Then he read the first sentence. "We know what you accomplished at Grant Technologies today." Marcus stared at the screen. The message continued. "We believe you're worth more than they are paying you." Marcus leaned back for the first time that day. He smiled. Someone had noticed. The email came from Daniel Hayes, CEO of Northwest Systems, one of Grant Technology's biggest competitors. Marcus knew the company well. Northwest Systems had been trying to win several contracts from Victoria's company for years. The message was short, professional, and direct. "We would like to discuss a senior engineering leadership position with you. The compensation package is significantly above your current salary, and the role includes flexible working arrangements." Marcus read it twice. Flexible hours. That phrase caught his attention more than the salary. He thought about Ethan waiting for him after school, the soccer practices he had missed, and the evenings when he had arrived home, too tired to help with homework. The next morning, Marcus accepted a private meeting. Daniel Hayes met him at a quiet cafe near downtown Seattle. "I'll be honest," Daniel said. "We don't usually recruit people directly from competitors." Marcus smiled. "Then why me?" "Because yesterday you solved a problem that could have cost your company millions." Marcus looked down. "I was just doing my job." Daniel shook his head. "That's exactly what makes you valuable." He slid a proposal across the table. Marcus opened it. The salary was nearly double what he currently earned. There was also a leadership position, stock options, remote work, flexibility, and generous family leave. Marcus stared at the document. "This is a serious offer, it is." Marcus thought about Victoria's words. "Be grateful I hired a single dad." He looked at Daniel. "Why are you offering me all this?" Daniel answered without hesitation. "Because we're not doing you a favor. We want your expertise." Marcus accepted the offer. 2 weeks later, he resigned from Grant Technologies. Victoria called him into her office. "You're leaving, yes. Where are you going?" Marcus didn't want to create unnecessary conflict. Northwest Systems, Victoria's face changed. "You can't be serious," Marcus nodded. "They made me an offer. I can match it." Marcus shook his head. "It's not about the money." Victoria looked confused. "Then what is it?" Marcus answered calmly, "Respect." Victoria went silent. Months passed. Marcus's new division began winning major contracts. His team developed a new platform that attracted several Fortune 500 clients. Daniel publicly praised Marcus for his leadership. Meanwhile, Grant Technologies struggled. 2 major clients moved their contracts to Northwest Systems. Victoria finally understood what had happened. She had treated Marcus like someone who should be thankful for employment. Her competitor had treated him like a valuable professional. One evening, Victoria called Marcus. "I want you back," Marcus smiled. "Why, we can offer you more money." Marcus looked toward Ethan, who was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework. "I appreciate that, so you'll consider it, no?" Victoria sighed. "Why not?" Marcus answered quietly. "Because you made me feel like being a single father was a weakness." He paused. "My new company sees it differently. They understand that responsibility made me stronger." Victoria had no response. Marcus ended the call. Ethan looked up, "Dad." "Who was that?" Marcus smiled. "Someone who finally learned my worth." Ethan grinned. "Are you still coming to my game Saturday?" Marcus smiled. "I wouldn't miss it, for the first time in years." Marcus knew he had built a career that didn't require sacrificing the most important part of his life. He had not simply found a better job. He had found a place where his value was recognized.